For hundreds of years, organists have relied on paper. Lots of paper. And now that's about to change. Greetings everyone, and welcome back to Pep Organ. Today I'm very excited to be sharing with you the brand new M1 iPad Pro 12.9-inch model, and of course the Apple Pencil. Now I'm opening these on Pep Organ because I feel like this new iPad is perfect for organists. It's the perfect device for reading sheet music, and of course the pencil goes perfectly with it for any annotations. So I'm going to be opening the box and showing you what's inside first, and then we'll be talking about how you can use it. But before we start, only a small number of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed to my channel. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing. Thank you. So here we are with the M1 2021 iPad Pro. Now just looking at it here, I've decided to order the 256GB model just with Wi-Fi. Now the base model is 128GB, and I've decided to get 256 because if I want to store extra things, but for sheet music, all you really need is 128. I've got the Wi-Fi model. There's also a cellular model if you really want to have internet on the go. And I've got, of course, the 12.9-inch model. Now, this is the model that you definitely want. It's actually bigger than A4 size in terms of screen space. So that's what I've gone for. And I've gone for a silver model because I think that looks really good. So here we go. I'm going to open it up. And we'll just see what you get inside. And there it is, 12.9-inch iPad Pro. It's actually really thin. It's really lightweight as well. Pull off that plastic there. You can see there the background, the camera, which is really good for scanning. Really good camera for scanning and other things as well, of course, video. Looking further in the box, you've got what you usually expect, a few little guides and so on. And then, of course, you've got your stickers. And then here, you've also got your USB-C cable and a charging port. Well, first it was Hobtwerk, and now it's the new iPad Pro. Technology has had a really interesting effect on the way that we interact with the pipe organ throughout the recent years. Hobtwerk technology, as many of you will know, has allowed us to play real pipe organs virtually from home using virtual digital consoles just plugged in with MIDI and through the computer through Hobtwerk technology. And now we've got new technology that will be revolutionary for organists, and that is the iPad Pro. So for hundreds of years, organists have relied on paper to read music. And the problem with paper is that you have a lot of it, and it stacks up and it stacks up. And eventually you just get sick of it. And finally, we've had a way to solve that problem. So the way to solve it is through something like the iPad Pro. So today I'm going to show you why this is just such a fantastic device that organists should be using. So the program that makes all of this possible is called ForScore. So if you go to the App Store, you'll see it's called ForScore here, and it costs a small amount, and once you've downloaded it, then you've got it forever, and it's just a fantastic program for storing files for music. So I'm going to show you, it's perfectly designed for it. So what I've got here is in the app, I've got a list of my library here, and in my library, I can create whatever I want here. So I can name my libraries however I want to. So for example, I've got organ, I've got accompaniments, I've got books. You know, you can have more than just music here. You can have all sorts of books and Kindle or whatever you'd like reading on here as well. Going further down, I have piano and harpsichord, and then documents and all sorts of things. So ForScore is mainly designed for music reading, but you can see that it's actually just a general PDF reader. So you can annotate, you can sign documents, you can do anything you'd like. So let's go into the library now and see how I'm actually using it. So if I go to organ, you'll see here that I've got a list of my genres. Now there's many different ways you could organize your music library, but genres is the way that I've found to be most effective. You could also do it by composer name, which also works, as long as you've got a system. My system is by genre, so I've named them 1 Renaissance, 2 Baroque, 2 German Baroque, 2 Italian Baroque, so I make a bit specific to how I tailor my own music library. But you can tailor it however you'd like. Now, when I actually go inside one of these genres, you'll see here that I've got, in Baroque, I've got a list of composers and pieces that I've found. So some of these pieces I've scanned, and other ones I've actually found directly from the internet. And so because the iPad is internet connected, it's very easy to instantly download a file and put it straight into ForScore. So let's just open one here, for example, and see what we can do with it. So, how about the Franck Chorale number 3 in A minor? Now I downloaded this one straight from IMSLP. So the way to do that is very simple. You would just go to your Safari or your web browser, and you'd look up Chorale number 3, or Chorales for Organ by Caesar Franck, and then we can go down and download the score right here. So all I've done is I tap on the score, wait for the time that IMSLP takes to load. Okay, and then I just hit download, and there's my file. And all I have to do now to get this onto my iPad, onto ForScore, is tap up here, share it, and I can share it straight here to Save to Files. So I'm going to save it here to ForScore. And it's not going to automatically do everything you want it to first. You're going to have to tailor it to the way that you have organized your library. So now I'm going to go down here, have a look. I've got genres here, and I've got no genres. So of course I haven't assigned a genre to this piece I've just downloaded. So there it is, Franck Chorale number 3, that's it. So now all I have to do is, might want to change the name, so I might change it to Franck Chorale 3. Just something simple so I can remember. And then genres, and I can tap on my genres, and they've already got the ones that I've listed out here. And I can choose French Romantic. So there we go. And now that I've got that in, it's going to show up in my library here. So I'll go to genres, French Romantic, and there it is, Franck Chorale number 3. Now, if I want to quickly load up this piece and I don't like that title page, I can also tap up here and tap Rearrange. And easily I can just remove these front pages, and that gets me, and I'll save it. And you see just in a moment that now I've got my score without any front page straight in like that. So that's one of the beauties of ForScore. It's very easy to edit your documents. If there was a repeat in my score, I could also do something like that. Let's pretend that there was a repeat in Franck. I don't endorse this, but let's say that there was a repeat. Maybe the first 2 pages will be repeated. All I need to do is go into Rearrange again and tap Add to 1 and put it here, and add to the second page and put it there. And now, if I save that, I'll overwrite the original score. And I'm going to go now into it, and here's what we have. So go forward, just tapping to move forward by page. And there it is again. So those are the new 2 pages that I've just added in. And then we keep going. So that's how you would add a repeat. Now what if you wanted to do something else? What if you wanted to cut out a bit? You could also do that. You could go back into a Rearrange and remove some scores, some pages. So I could easily do that. I could change the bits that I wanted. So that's how you would change pages on their own. But how about if I want to actually add something to the score? Just like if I wanted a pencil. Well, that's the beauty of the new iPad Pro with the magnetically attached Apple Pencil. And just see how it works. It's just like magic. So here's what I do. Okay, so it's fortissimo here, so I'm going to circle that. And there we go, it's been circled. Now you can choose any color you want. I choose blue. It stands out a little bit from the black, so I just use that. You could also use red if you wanted. You could circle a note. If you're making a mistake on a note, you could circle it. You could also do something a little bit more sneaky. So let's say that I didn't like this A. Maybe I'm going to change this A to a B. I can get my white here, white that out, and then get my black, put a new note in. And it might look a little bit clumsy, but once you've zoomed out, it's pretty much okay. It's readable. So that's how I would do it. So you can change notes and make the piece your own. Other more practical things you could do are, for example, adding in your articulations. So maybe if I wanted some articulation here, I'll go back to maybe go to my red so I can see it clearly. So maybe I want this to be slurred. Could do something like that. Maybe I've forgotten that a certain note needs to be sharped, so I'm going to just write in that sharp there just to remind myself. And then, of course, one thing that organists have to do all the time is writing in their stop instructions to themselves. So you might have something here. You can say, I'm adding a 4-foot here, 4-foot flute. So it writes in just like you would write with a pencil, but it stands out very easily. And if I want to rub it out, there's 2 easy ways. One, some people like this. I don't really like it, but you can do it. You can double tap here. If you double tap, that flips the setting of the pencil from a pencil to a rubber. So if I double tap now, it's now into a rubber. I can rub that out very simply. Of course, if you find that a bit tricky, which I do, I instead just go up here and tap the rubber button. So maybe I want to mark in a flat here and say, oh no, sorry, that's not a flat. So I'll put in my rubber and just rub that out, and there it is, it's gone. And if you find it a bit tricky, if you want to write in something very precisely, that's what I do here. I just zoom in just like that, and then I can get my sharp and put the sharp in here. And maybe I want to put in a sharp here. Oh, that was wrong, so I'll just rub it out. And of course, sometimes this happens too. Maybe you've got your hand rested on it, and of course it's not perfect software, so it can sometimes confuse a hand movement for a tap, so you might just want to just erase those as well. It's a very simple process. Some other things you can do, which are very useful, if a score looks a bit messy, if there's something wrong with it, you can also use the whiting technique to white out something. So for example, maybe I thought that there's some kind of, for example, something like this here, a bit of a page blot or something. Maybe I can white that out just delicately. And if I'm being a bit OCD and pedantic about this, maybe I want to rewrite in the ledger lines as well. So there are all sorts of ways you can do it. You can also write in text. If you feel like your handwriting is not very good, maybe you want to write in crescendo here. So now I can type in crescendo, and that will remind me. And I can change the color of that one too as well. So those are the kinds of things you can do with the Apple Pencil combined with the power of ForScore. Now there are a few more features I just want to show you. One useful feature is the ability to crop a score. So sometimes a score that you download might be too big on the margins. And we want to really use all of this space of the iPad. So maybe if we crop it, there's actually an automatic cropping ability here. And you can do it like that, crop. Now I've got even a wider space. So this is starting to get bigger than A4 actually. So I can crop this one as well, crop, and it's automatically going to crop it for me. But if I want to, I can also crop it the way that I want to crop it. Then maybe you want to add in a cadenza. This is very common for violinists, but also organists may want to do this too. You can maybe add a template. And here I could go, oh, well, we've got templates here. We've got some sheet music here, maybe one like this. Add that in. Okay. So here you've just got sheet music. So if you want to compose something or add a cadenza or something, you can do whatever you want. So let's say that I wanted to write something simple. So let me just put something in here. Maybe just a bit of this, and I'm very bad at writing my treble clefs, but something like this. Okay. And now that I've got that done, I can simply rearrange this, or I could rearrange and add a score, couldn't I? So I can go here, and here's my Franck Chorale 3 that we've just been working on. Add it in, and maybe I want the cadenza to be on the second last page, so I'll put it here. And now I can overwrite that score together, and now it's all together. So I'll come over to this page, and sure enough, there it is. So these are the kinds of useful things that you can really do. Of course, another feature that is common on ForScore is the ability to add a piano in. So if I go up here again, I can just tap on piano. And now I've got a usable piano. So very useful for singers if you're just trying to quickly get a note down, or if you're trying to compose something on the go, or maybe if you just want to hear what a certain chord sounds like. Something like that. That's very easy to pull up, and you can move up and down the piano as well as you need. And then, of course, we've got a metronome. So if you're practicing a piece of music, you could also try this. So maybe if I start putting it on, so audible. There we go. Let me just turn up my volume a little bit. I can just turn that metronome down or up. So we're getting rid of the ability to need a metronome as well, because it's straight in the app. It's very, very straightforward. So I've just shown you how to download a score from IMSLP and then put it onto the iPad. But what if your score is already physical and you can't download it? I'm going to show you how to do that as well. And ForScore can take care of the whole thing for you as well. So let's say we've got a piece here, a bit of Bach, and I'm just going to open up to a particular piece that I want to scan. So here we go. Here's our Fantasia in Fugue in C minor. Now I could download this online, but I've already written in some markings, so I might as well try and keep this copy that I've already scanned. So now in ForScore, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here again, and I'm going to go scan to add a score. So what do I do here? I tap on the add score, and now we're going to turn on the camera. And with the camera, I can stand up, and maybe my lighting isn't very good. So what I might do is I might turn on the flash, and then get that page in focus, and you'll see that it actually focuses on itself. And then all I have to do is just tap and take the photo, and here's the result. So it's not perfect. You do have to fiddle around a little bit, but you can just change it to exactly the way you want it to look. Make sure that you've got your whole page in, and then you can tap Keep Scan. So that's my first scan. And this is a 3-page piece, so maybe what I'll do is I'll take this next photo. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as you've got your whole page in frame, and as long as you've got enough lighting that it doesn't get blurred out. There's my next one. That's probably good enough. And then a third page here. So just take a photo of that. I like to use the flash just because I think it keeps the lighting more consistent. Now that I've got my 3 pages, I can tap Save. And once I've got these pages here, I can give it a name, obviously. So we might just call it Bach. This is my system of naming. You can have a system that you'd like. Bach, Fantasia, and Fugue in C. Okay, and then you can put in the BWV number as well. And for my system, what I would do is then I would tap up here and I would go to genres and put it into German Baroque. That makes sense. And there it is. So now I can, and you can see I've got it here in landscape mode, so I actually can see 2 pages on the one screen. But if I want it to be a bit bigger, just flip it, and now we're in vertical mode. So that's an easy way to just see the pages. Now you might be wondering to yourself by this point, how am I going to turn the pages? And I've shown that you can tap the pages just by tapping like this. But here's where the real beauty of ForScore comes through. The beauty of ForScore is that there's a way to turn pages without taking your hands or feet off the keys. Now to use this feature, you'll need ForScore Pro, which is an annual subscription. But once you have it, it's absolutely worth it. So I'll show you how it works. So what I go down here is I go to Settings, and in the Settings, here's my ForScore Pro settings here, which I've now enabled. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our face gestures. Now here's the thing that you want to do. You can change the page in ForScore using your head. And it might sound a bit crazy, but once you've got used to it, it's very, very comfortable. So what ForScore gives you options to do is a mouth movement or a head turn. So a head turn would be something like a head jerk, and that would turn the page forward one. Or a mouth movement would be the same thing, but you'd shift your mouth to the right or shift your mouth to the left, and then that would turn the page forward or it would turn it back. So these are the 2 options that ForScore gives you, mouth movement or head turn. But I've, with the help of my friend Nico Tjoelker, I found a way that you can actually do it with a wink. And the wink I've found is the most reliable and the easiest way to turn pages without doing anything that would accidentally turn the page forward, because you don't want to ever wink unconsciously. People don't tend to wink unconsciously. You tend to blink, and it doesn't pick up a blink. It only picks up a wink. So we might be turning the page with a wink, but what we've actually set it up as is a mouth movement. And I'll show you. So what you do is you tap Calibrate, and that will just basically set up your face so that it identifies your face properly. And then you're going to adjust the sensitivity exactly the way that you want. And if you look down here, you'll see that there's these little bars that sometimes show up, and that's just showing you whether it's picking up a mouth movement, or in our case, a wink. So if you watch now, I'm going to wink, and you're going to see on the screen what happens. So you can see I'm winking each time, and it's pretty reliable. Now to make it really reliable, I usually will have the iPad facing this way. And what you do is, because you're looking down at the bottom of the page when you're ready to turn pages, you're looking down here already. So you've got the iPad here, and then you wink, like so, and it's going to pick it up. So to actually turn the pages, all you have to do is go into a score, and then you look for the happy face up here. And if you turn that one to blue so that it's on, now I'll demonstrate how it works. So I'm going to just wink and turn the pages. And it's that simple. So I've been using this for many months. It does take some practice to get used to, but it's actually a lifesaver in many different circumstances. It means that you don't have to rely on page turners anymore. And if you've got a sequencer on your organ, you don't have to rely on them to do stops either. So you can do everything on your own, and including the pages. So that's such a wonderful feature. If you find page turns a bit annoying, of course you can always have it so that you're showing 2 pages, or you can do your own setup, maybe having 4 on a page, something that you would like to make it easier for yourself. But I find winking easy. Some people might find head turns or mouth movements easier, but I've found the winking to be the most reliable. To go backwards, you could also wink to go back. I'm not so good with my winking on my other eye, so I've just made that a mouth movement, and that just seems to work quite fine. So if you look here, let's go backwards like that. And that sort of works for me psychologically, because it might look silly, but it's me thinking, oh, I made a mistake, and it goes backwards. But if I'm going forwards, then it's just wink, and it's forward. So that's just a taste of some of the major features that you can see on ForScore using the iPad Pro. Now, one of the biggest reasons, of course, that I chose an iPad Pro over another digital score reader is, of course, because when you get an iPad Pro, you don't just get ForScore, you get the iPad. And it's an amazing experience for anyone who's used one or used an iPhone, which is very similar. And of course, you can get all sorts of apps. I'm not going to look into those today, but I'm sure you'll find many different ways that you could use your iPad for watching movies, for reading documents, for reading books, for playing games, anything you want. And then, of course, you've got ForScore, which is, to top it off, to be the ultimate score reading device for your iPad for your entire life. So, I hope you found this video interesting. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you find it interesting. You'll see that I'll be using the iPad in all future videos, so you can look forward to that and to all my future uploads. So that's all for today, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.